Most retroactive jealousy sufferers understand that a common component of this weird disorder is encountering what we call triggers, i.e., external situations, events, things that happen to us that are outside of our control that can inspire feelings of retroactive jealousy. In today's video, I'm going to answer a common viewer question about triggers. My name is Zachary Stockill, and since 2013, I've been helping men and women from all over the world overcome retroactive jealousy and save their relationships. If you'd like more information about my work, or you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. For the people here for the first time, the term retroactive jealousy refers to unwanted intrusive thoughts, often obsessive curiosity, and what I like to call mental movies about your partner's past relationships and/or sexual/dating history. And I've got a question from a retroactive jealousy sufferer who watches these videos about triggers. So D writes, I have a question about triggers. Is there a way to completely work through these? Some things that are obscure triggers, I have found ways to work through. But other triggers, never fail to mess me up. So my question is, do I have to accept that certain things will always trigger me? Thanks for your question, D. And the answer is no. I don't think you have to accept that. I don't think you should accept that. With a very important caveat that I'm going to come back to at the end of this video. So regarding your main question, do you have to accept that certain things are always going to trigger you? No, that's not true. You don't necessarily have to accept that. There are ways, there are proven practices, strategies, reframes, techniques from the literature on OCD, techniques from the literature on cognitive behavior therapy, and a bunch of other strategies, perspectives, tips, guidance. There are ways to work through triggers. Triggers only have power over you when you offer them power. That's a weird idea. It sounds counterintuitive because sometimes when we're struggling with retroactive jealousy and we encounter a trigger, sometimes there's a part of us that almost feels helpless, like this thing happened, or my partner said this thing, or something happened to me that's outside of my control and I can't do anything about it. And it's not true. So of course there's the option of just avoiding triggers as much as possible, but as we just mentioned, sometimes certain triggers are unavoidable. Sometimes it's something that happens commonly in your relationship. Sometimes it's a street you always have to drive down. Sometimes it's, I don't know, something around your home. Sometimes triggers are inescapable to some extent. So whenever a trigger bothers us, we must always realize what is in our power and what is not. So if I'm struggling with retroactive jealousy and I encounter some kind of a trigger, rather than feeling like a victim, rather than feeling powerless, before the whole cycle starts, before the whole victim complex starts, and before the emotions get swept up, I need to remember that retroactive jealousy feeds off of emotional energy, and this trigger only has power over me when I offer it emotional energy. Now, that's a big rabbit hole to go down. I don't have time for that right now. But my whole point is that no, certain triggers don't have to always trigger you. There are ways to work through them. There are strategies, tips, practices, perspectives, a number of them on this YouTube channel, a number of them in my online courses. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do, to put it very bluntly, so that triggers are no longer triggers. But again, all of that starts with realizing that this external thing only has power over me if I offer it power. And I have the power to withdraw that power, to reframe the narrative, to take the power back anytime I want. I just have to take the steps. At the same time, I promised you a caveat early on in this video. At the same time, depending on your situation, depending on your exact circumstances, you may need to accept that there is something in your partner's past that you're never going to love, okay? You might have to accept that there's some person that your partner was once with, or there's something they once did, or some situation they were once in, or whatever, that you're never going to necessarily love. Now, note the difference here. There's a difference between not loving something about your partner's past and being triggered by your partner's past. To my mind, the word trigger is kind of intense, and it implies that there's a lot of emotional energy associated with that thing. It has the power over us, or at least the imagined power, to inspire anxiety, and we lose our breath and it makes us all stressed out. That's a trigger. There's a difference between that and not loving something that your partner once did in their past. And by the way, if that's true, if there's something in your partner's past that you don't necessarily love, join the club. That describes the majority of men and women in the modern age. There's going to be people watching this video, or many people in your life who've never even heard of retroactive jealousy. They've never encountered that term before. But if you ask them, hey, Mary Jane, do you love thinking about Robert's ex-wife? Mary Jane's going to say no. Hey, Dave, do you like thinking about Susie's ex? Dave's going to say, well, of course not. No, he was kind of an idiot and I don't like thinking about that, right? I think sometimes when we're struggling with retroactive jealousy, it's easy to kind of lose perspective on that stuff and to think that everyone else, while they might not be struggling with intrusive thoughts and all that stuff, there's a lot of people who don't necessarily love their partner's past, but they find a way to accept it. They find a way to work through that in a way that works for them. It's not a big deal. It's just, I don't love that thing that happened in my partner's past, but our present is so incredible. Who the hell cares about the past? That's the way I think most people kind of deal with this stuff who are not retroactive jealousy sufferers. So all of that is to say, no, certain things don't have to trigger you indefinitely for the rest of your life. Of course, you may not love certain things. You may spend the rest of your life with your partner, and you may not love a certain element or two or three about their past. But it doesn't have to dictate your life. It doesn't have to have an emotional impact on you. And there are proven strategies, proven tips, proven practices, proven reframes. There is a way through this so that triggers are no longer triggers. If you want to get started right now, I would highly recommend you sign up for my free 4-part video mini course. Click the link above my head. You can click a link in the description of this video. Sign up. I'll send you a number of free videos that are not on this channel, exclusive to my website, for free over the course of about a week. This is going to help you get moving, beating retroactive jealousy. Many people have found them very helpful. So click the link above my head or click the link in the description of this video to receive a free 4-part video mini course on how to get started beating retroactive jealousy. Thank you for listening. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching this video. If you got anything out of this today, please take a moment to let me know by clicking the like button below. Please also make sure you are subscribed to my channel to be notified of future videos. And if you have a question for me, if you have a comment, leave it in the description. I always read every one of your comments and I appreciate hearing from you. So thanks again for watching and I'll talk to you again soon.